So if I focus on my experience and my learning in terms of development to help people develop their leadership skills, transform how they show up and are effective as a leader, for me actually part of this is beyond specific formal learning. Part of it is actually having lived in the shoes of a CEO, being a CEO and having walked that journey. I think that physical experience of doing the roles is critically important. I think more than that though, I am fascinated by learning. For me, that journey took me into a master's level study at Henley Business School, where I studied for over 4 years, coaching and behavioural change. That was probably the big foundational block. Since then, I've looked at a number of different psychometric profiling tools, and actually all my friends tease me about the sort of level of reading I do around coaching, psychology and leadership.
I think the leadership journey for me began with curiosity about what motivates people and stops them from being their best. So the question, why do you do what you do, is of interest to me, and that's good because you end up asking that question for the rest of your life. In terms of work in progress, it never stops, so you're always reading, always learning new things. I'm getting recertified in a different level of ICF currently, and fortunately I find that interesting.
While I was at KPMG, that's when I got access as a young leader. I was a really young leader and they threw everything at me, so I got all this incredible leadership development myself, and that's when I realised that this stuff that was of interest to me outside work was actually happening in inside work. So that was a penny drop moment for me, but going on that personal leadership journey myself was really important. Getting access to the training internally was brilliant. At a certain point I realised that I'd sort of reached my ceiling there in terms of coaching development. I wanted to take it further, and so I did a Henley certificate, but all the time it was sort of feeding my own leadership development journey as I moved into senior management. And then when I moved over to London Business School, I was directing an entire portfolio, so I had to be living and breathing the stuff myself, whilst also then learning the stuff. And I decided to take it one notch further, and I did a master's in coaching psychology.
I have been on masterminds with coaches in LA, in Goa, and in our own local Cornwall. I have learned Tai Chi in India. I've meditated in the Royal Albert Hall with Eckhart Tolle, who is the world leader on presence and being present. And I've learned NLP with family-run business here. I've learned mindfulness with an Australian leader. So really it's an eclectic mix that then sits alongside my formal coach training.
When I first became a leader, a little leader in the civil service many years ago, I got very interested in what made people tick and read a lot about motivation and what gets people up in the morning. And that piqued my interest after I'd done psychology as a sort of minor topic as part of my degree. So when I decided to throw myself into this, I did a master's in organisational psychology at the University of London, as well as a coaching qualification. And in the master's, we got into real detail about the sheer crazy variety of leadership styles and why so many have come and gone. And I find that really fascinating, because actually these different flavours of leadership just show us that we're not all the same, and that people need to find their own voice as a leader and not try to project something they're not. So my approach to that leadership question is, who are you? Forget who you are as a leader, who are you as a person? And let's build on the positive, impactful parts of that.
So for me, I guess my learning journey about leadership and leadership behaviours started in business, working with other leaders and watching and understanding what they were doing and what worked and what didn't work. Having coaching myself really had an impact, and ultimately moving into doing some formal training. I guess my professional background in accountancy led me to want to do a very credible quality training in coaching. So I engaged at Henley Business School, did a certificate in coaching there initially, loved that, and that gave me the opportunity to extend and do ultimately a master's in coaching and behavioural change at Henley, which was all fascinating, learning an awful lot of psychology, which I wish I'd known when I was a leader myself.
So formal coach training, over 120 hours across a couple of different programs focused specifically on organisational executive coaching, so coaching in the system so that we understand how leaders influence all those around them as well. And I think it's that mix of like deep personal interest and personal discovery that then mixes with the quite formal, more structured coaching training, and that combined with my corporate experience I think brings commerciality as well as openness and interest and development and thinking about behaviour and coaching as a tool.
My learning journey to becoming a coach, I now realise, started actually when I was a medical student. So I distinctly remember sitting on the bed of a patient and really listening to them. And I was also very fortunate when I was a medical student. I had the opportunity to do an intercalated degree in psychology, and that really helped me understand about human behaviours, the way that we think, the way that we feel, and the way therefore that we behave as a result of those two. Since then, I've done a lot more training. I've done a lot of work in constellations and systems theory. I've done quite a lot on the neuroscience side as well, because obviously that makes a lot of sense to me in terms of us being able to understand how our brains interact with our bodies. And I've also done, therefore, quite a lot of embodied work as well, the way that our thoughts and our feelings get displayed in our bodies and the way that we behave.
Having qualified, that learning journey just continues, and I'm a member of the Association for Professional Executive Coaching and Supervision, APEX, a former chair of APEX as it happens, and that is a great learning environment. You're learning from other master coaches. I'm also a member of ICF and again learn from there, and continuing learning through Henley Business School as well, because there's a coaching group there that alumni can be involved with.
One of my core beliefs about coaching is it is so much deeper than just words. In a sense, words are just the popcorn of coaching. For coaching really to enable deep change, I think it needs to operate at a deeper level. And this is actually what I studied at Henley Business School and what my dissertation was on. And I was very lucky and very kindly awarded an award for academic excellence by Henley for my research piece there. Essentially there we looked at, again, going deeper than cognitive thought, going deeper than language. How can coaching really enable people to transform at that deeper level? So for me that is about, as a coach, becoming deeply attuned with that other person, actually getting them to feel physically different about it, to emotionally to feel different about it. They have a real felt sense about the change they've made. In one sense this might sound sort of esoteric, but another sense fundamentally you're shifting how someone shows up. You're shifting their very sense of being.